This video is sponsored by TipRanks. So I get these questions all the time from you guys. Nick, what stocks do you own and what does your portfolio look like? Now, if you didn't already know, in my VIP membership group, I disclose my stock portfolio, I kind of go over my positions, and I show you the cost basis and the size of each position. Now, what I thought I'd do for this YouTube channel, just as a compromise for all of my subscribers here, is to be completely transparent with my retirement portfolio. Many of my viewers are in their 20s or 30s, and thinking about retirement now is gonna set you up for a huge success later on when you do plan to retire in your late 50s or maybe early 60s. So pretty much in this brand new series here, we've partnered up with TipRanks, and I'm gonna be showing you my full portfolio, my retirement portfolio, and I'm going to show you each and every position in there. We're going to discuss each and every position, and I'm going to show you the dollar amount of each position as well. Hopefully this will give you a good idea of how you can get started building your own retirement portfolio. And as always, if you have any questions about your retirement portfolio, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'm sure a bunch of us in the community can help out as much as we can. Now, I will be funneling some money into this account, not really on a regular basis, but somewhat regular basis. But either way, there will be updates, there will be discussions on the portfolio, and I hope this will be a successful series, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do enjoy this series, all I ask is that you drop a huge like on this video, maybe share it with a friend, and check out TipRanks as well, because like I said, they are a sponsor of this series as well. But anyway, that's enough rambling. Let's get into my screen share here and show you guys my portfolio. Okay, so what you see on your screen right now is the landing page for TipRanks. So what I'm actually going to do right away is go up here under Smart Portfolio and then go under Overview to get a look at what my portfolio looks like. Okay, so now in my overview screen, you can kind of get an idea of where I stand right now. So left hand side here, you can see the total holdings value, which is around $7,400 or so. It gives you a quick view of the daily return, not too relevant for a retirement portfolio. Remember, we're thinking 20, 30 years out. And underneath that, it actually gives you a monthly gain and total gain, just so you have an idea of how your portfolio is performing. Besides that, you have a quick overview of your daily gainers and losers. Again, this is a day-to-day basis, not too relevant for a retirement account, but a good to have to see how your positions are doing. And then on the far right, you kind of have how the market is doing. You kind of see like on a 3-month basis, 1-year basis, 5-year basis, how the different markets are doing, you know, gold, NASDAQ, S&P, you can even have the Dow Jones in there. Now underneath this, you actually have a my returns versus the benchmark indicator here. And this is pretty useful to see how your portfolio is performing versus the S&P 500. So I started this portfolio, you know, towards the end of July, so I didn't really get a full month here of performance versus the S&P. So you can see that I did underperform the S&P in that time frame. But so far in August, I am outperforming the S&P quite significantly here. But either way, this is short-term thinking. We really want to see how this performs, say, over the next year or so, and we're going to be tracking this on the channel. And this will really give us an idea of, you know, is this the best strategy for us, or are we better off just going with an S&P 500 index fund and just letting our money sit in there? Underneath that, you'll kind of get your portfolio news. You can kind of see all portfolio news, bullish news, bearish news. I think this is a phenomenal feature. I don't really see any other websites have this feature, and it really gives you a understanding of, you know, what's the sentiment with the stocks that you hold. You can see FedEx here. You can see a couple of things at the top here. They recently ended their partnership with Amazon for ground deliveries. So there's a lot of bearish news around that, a lot of bearish sentiment. And really, as a long-term investor, you're looking for these opportunities to kind of pounce on these stocks to really take advantage of the discounts that they offer. But anyways, now let's get into the meat of the video, really the reason you guys are here, and that is to see the holdings in this portfolio. So here you can see this is my full portfolio, full retirement portfolio. You can see total holdings values around $7,400. I have a cash value of around $1,200 or so. And underneath that, you can see a full view of all of my holdings. I'll go through each one of these with you guys in a second, but I just kind of want to show you that you'll see the stock ticker symbol on the left-hand side here, the holding value, you know, the price, and on the far right, you'll see actually my performance for these. You'll notice that pretty much everything here is in the red right now. Besides that, you also get kind of the analyst price targets. You know, I'd like to throw these in the video, so it kind of gives you an idea of what analysts think about the stocks you're holding as well. So looking at these 6 positions here, you will probably notice 2 things right off the bat. So the first thing is that these positions are fairly equally weighted. You'll notice that, you know, Lowe's, Altria, Boeing, and AbbVie are all kind of around the same value. FedEx and PetMed Express are valued a little bit less, and there's a reason for that. Everything in here is kind of strategically planned out, and there's a reason why I allocate a certain amount to each stock. The second thing you would have noticed if you're a dividend investor is that each and every single one of these companies is a dividend growth company. Now, with the exception of pets, they're kind of a slower growth company, but they do have a very high starting yield, which is why I like it. And it also doesn't have any debt. But really, my strategy with this portfolio is to have a very strong dividend growth portfolio, not only take advantage of the stocks appreciating in value over time, but also take advantage of the dividend growth and dividend income that these stocks offer, so that when I do eventually retire in say 30 years or so, I can actually live off just purely the dividend income from these stocks. Now, like I said, all these positions are really down. AbbVie's down quite significantly here, around 17%. Boeing's down around 10.5%, 11%. Pretty much everything's down across the board. And I'm actually really happy that this is the case, because it shows you guys that, I invested here at the top of the market. So it'll be an interesting experiment to see how this plays out. I know a lot of investors are always afraid to get into the market because they're like, what, we're at all-time highs. If I buy right now, I'm going to be down in my position forever. I'm never going to be able to recover my losses and all that stuff. So here you can use this portfolio as a perfect example of, buying close to the top of the market, close to the all-time highs. And let's see how this performs over time. So let's kind of click on the detail view here to get a better understanding of these positions. You can see that each one of these positions has a certain number of shares, of course, allocated to it. And with the detail view, you kind of get a quick overview of that. And you also get a quick overview of the portfolio allocation for each of these shares. But I personally like to look at the basic view here, click on the stock, and I can actually see kind of their chart. Certain things about the stock, like hedge fund, indicator, insider signal, all that kind of stuff. And kind of get a quick understanding of where the stock is sitting at right now and what my position in this company is like. So you can see here I have shares, purchase price, and all you really have to do, guys, to maintain this portfolio, if you want to say, if you buy more shares of AbbVie, I can go in and I can just modify this to whatever quantity I wanted to, and it'll automatically update there. So now say I have a brand new stock added to portfolio, which I eventually will. All I'll do is kind of click on add stocks, go here, pick a stock. Apple is one I have an eye on, but not at these prices. Once I have that, I click done, and it's going to add that into my portfolio here. Let's see if I close this up. And you'll see Apple is in here. It doesn't have any dollar value, so I click this. Click on the shares. Say I want to add, 5 shares of Apple at the current price. Sure, done. And now you'll see that the value of Apple is already in there. If you want to remove this, click on the X. Are you sure? Yes. Okay, so that's kind of how you can do this. You also have the option to download your portfolio here as well. I don't really do that too often, just because they do a pretty good job here in TipRanks to give you an overview of everything. So now quickly what I want to do is kind of walk through each of these positions here and give you an understanding of why I'm holding them and what my plan is with them. So AbbVie is first stock I'm holding. I think AbbVie is incredibly undervalued right now. We're currently sitting in like the low 60s, low to mid 60s. And it's down significantly from when I entered. And I actually think that the stock is actually very oversold at this point, which is why I wanted to initiate a position here. But not only that, remember this is a dividend growth portfolio, and AbbVie is one of the strongest dividend growth companies out there. The starting yield, I believe, is above 6%, and this company is planned to grow their dividend by double digits most likely in the future. So AbbVie is the first company that I added. Boeing, second company that I added. You don't really get many opportunities in this stock, but currently it's facing a lot of pressure, with the whole 737 MAX. So I kind of took that opportunity, just opened up a position here. You can see I'm down significantly. My cost basis on Boeing is $373, so I'm down quite a bit here on the stock, but again, I'm looking for the dividends, and I think Boeing has a long way to go for its dividend growth. Next, we have Altria. This is one of the strongest performing dividend growth stocks out there, consistently raising their dividend by double digits. Starting yield is above 6%, I believe, or high 5%. And really a solid company overall, extremely oversold right now in my opinion, which is why I wanted a nice solid position here in Altria. Next is FedEx, which is a smaller position, and this is because of the risk associated with FedEx. FedEx is a very cyclical stock. It suffers really, really bad when the economy takes a hit. If there's global economy takes a hit, it'll suffer even more. And this is a stock that, it's a company that I'm not too excited about, but it's a company that I think will be around for quite a while. But I don't really feel too comfortable having this as one of my larger positions. They do grow their dividend, but in tough times, they may either stop growing it or even cut it slightly, which is why I kind of want to keep my exposure to FedEx pretty limited. But that being said, it's currently at a pretty reasonable price here. You can look at the charts real quick. The stock is really taking a beating. Look at the 5 years. We're pretty much back at prices that we were, back in 2015. So we're getting some pretty good value here in this stock. Moving on, pets.com, Pet Med Express. This is another great stock, I think, just for dividend income. It has a pretty high starting yield, and it may not grow its dividend as quick as the other companies here, but considering the fact it doesn't have any debt, good balance sheet, and possibly an acquisition target at some point, I think this is a good company to have a little bit of exposure to, just to earn that dividend in the meantime while you wait to see what happens with it. And finally, to close off the list here is Lowe's, one of my favorite dividend growth companies. It's actually a dividend king, raising their dividend over 50 years, I believe. And it's a company that I think has a lot of great things going for it. It's going to keep growing. It's going to keep expanding in the industry that it's in. And its only real competitor really right now is Home Depot. So I think that this company is pretty safe with its market. And you can kind of see that by the allocation that I have here. It's one of my largest, I believe. It's my third largest position here in this portfolio. So Lowe's is another great stock for dividend growth coupled with all these others. I think that I'm set up for a pretty good portfolio here, at least to start off with. And like I said, I have around $1,200 in cash sitting, so we will be deploying that soon enough, and I'll let you guys know exactly what stocks I deploy that in. Maybe it's one of these existing stocks, or maybe it's a brand new stock that I have my eye on. Now quickly up here you can see portfolio news again. This we kind of talked about on the main page. You can see full view of bullish, bearish news. And beside that is actually something that I find really useful, which is your portfolio calendar. Here you kind of get an overview of your holdings and kind of what's going on with them in terms of dividends and earnings. So you can see here that we have Boeing with their ex-dividend date coming up, on the 8th. It's actually today when I'm filming this video. So as long as you're holding Boeing before this date, you will be eligible for the dividends. So I will be receiving dividends in this. And then you can see underneath that, you can see Lowe's and FedEx plan to report their earnings late August and late September. So we're excited to see where that goes as well. You get a pretty good view here. You can kind of see, October as well, who's reporting dividends, all that stuff. So it's a pretty good balance here of an overview of your holdings and what's going on with them in terms of earnings and dividends. Now the next thing I want to show you guys, which is a really useful tool with tip ranks, is the My Portfolio analysis. So here it kind of does all the work for me. So once I go in and I add all of my positions into my smart portfolio, it automatically recognizes the industries that they're in, and it allocates my portfolio and gives me a view of what's kind of going on here. So I can see right away I have 83% allocated to stocks right now, around 16-17% allocated to cash. And with these stocks, you can see the different industries that they're in. So if I scroll down a bit here, I'm heavy in the services industry, consumer goods, I have a couple stocks, and then healthcare, of course, I have AbbVie, so that's another heavy stock. But what I really like about this view, apart from this kind of overview here, is these three things on the right hand side. So the first is my portfolio volatility. You can see my portfolio is significantly less volatile than the average portfolio here on tip ranks. And that's, of course, I'm going after dividend growth companies. Those are known to be fairly stable companies. Not going to get rich overnight, but over the long term I do plan to get pretty good returns from these stocks. You can even click here on your volatile stocks to see which ones are more volatile than others. You can see FedEx has pretty much the most volatility in my portfolio. Underneath that, the dividend yield is my favorite feature here. It actually shows me what my current portfolio yield is, and it shows me how much money I will be earning on a yearly basis from my dividends. If I expand this, you can see my highest yielding companies. So Altria's at almost a 7%. Wow, that may have to buy some more stock here in Altria, guys. Underneath that, AbbVie at 6.6 and Pet Med Express 6.5. So you can see I have some really high yielding companies, but I believe all three of these companies are very safe with their dividends. So I'm not really chasing, those high 10-15% yields that have like an 80%, 100% payout ratio. All of these companies here have a pretty reasonable payout ratio, which is why I decided to add them to my portfolio. So you can see based on my current allocation, I believe what it was, $7,500 or so, I'll be earning right now around $227.50 in dividends every single year. And of course, this is going to go up as those companies raise their dividends and as I add more money to the portfolio and buy more dividend stocks. Underneath that, it kind of gives you a quick view of your portfolio PE as well. I'm not really going to go through all of this again in future videos. It's kind of more of an introductory video. It's going to show you guys, where all the information is. But here you can see, my portfolio is kind of sitting at a 34.52, average 34.03. So I'm pretty much at an average with the average tip ranks portfolio here. Don't really pay too much attention to this. Again, it's a long-term portfolio. I look for stocks that I think are at good value right now. I buy them, and I'm just going to hold them for the next 30 years or so. What I do promise here is to be completely transparent with you guys. I do believe I may have a deposit sometime in September or October, because I do have some money coming into my retirement then. So we may see some more buy orders in the next update videos. So make sure to stay tuned for that and kind of follow this series to understand where my portfolio is going, and if this is a strategy that maybe you want to implement as well for your retirement account. There's many different things you can do for a retirement account. My strategy here is dividend growth companies because I think that's kind of where the value is for really long-term investors. But, if you're focused more on growth stocks, completely fine. My personal portfolio, which is not my retirement portfolio, does have a bunch of growth stocks, so I do see the value in those companies as well. But anyways, guys, I want to just give a huge shout out here to tipranks.com. These guys are actually making this series possible by sponsoring the channel and sponsoring these videos. So make sure to check them out. I believe they are going to give me a coupon code, so I'll leave that in the video here or in the link in the description down below. So check that out. You can sign up for free, or you can sign up for one of their packages, try it out and see if it fits you. I encourage you to go in, use a smart portfolio, set up your account, set up your portfolio, and kind of share with me in the comment section down below of, what your thoughts are on this platform. So that's pretty much my portfolio. That's kind of where I stand right now with this portfolio. If you want to see updates on this on a monthly basis or even more regularly, let me know in the comment section down below. We'll kind of figure out what the best way to go about this is, maybe every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or maybe on a monthly basis. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one.